Okay, so Jocelyn had a question about crafting the value prop. And one of the things that, if one person has a question, we know that oftentimes other people might as well. And so I wanted to break down specifically how do we put together the value prop for someone who is brand new in the business, doesn't have maybe a lot of experience, doesn't have a lot of sales to lean into. What are a couple of things that we can build into our value prop with maybe a tiny bit of work to get it something into something solid right away? So I put together five different things on this list, and one of them has a couple of different parts. So I'm going to kind of break these down a little bit. Number one on the list when we start to go to an agent with no experience for a value proposition, availability. When we don't have a ton of clients and customers, when we're newer in the business, the reality is this: we're available a lot more. One of the things that we find typically too, agents that are more that have less business, I should say, and are newer in the business are typically more apt to work nights and weekends when a lot of people are more available, especially if they're working a full-time job. So availability and getting into a home quickly is super important in our low inventory markets, and no question of value to the buyers. Number two is going to be inventory knowledge. What do I mean by inventory knowledge? What have you been through in your marketplace? How many homes have you personally seen the inside of? For me, I think it's super important to get through and understand what's being sold at what price in your local service area. And if you don't have a lot of buyers, so you haven't been through showing, start previewing homes. If you start going through 4 to 5 homes in the afternoon after you've performed your morning schedule, especially when we are holding time for showings and we don't have them, it won't take but a few weeks before we have an ultra strong understanding of what's available at what price point within our marketplace. What's the other advantage to this? Knowing this inventory and seeing how long before it goes under contract really tells you the marketability of each of the prices as you go through. So understanding at what condition and what price homes are going quickly is going to help you guide your buyers to getting their best purchase for their money. Next, and it's definitely different than talking about knowledge of inventory, is talking about market knowledge. And I've got a few stats that I want us to understand in order to give value. Whether you're new or seasoned, these are things you should know without a doubt in the areas that you service. Number one under our market knowledge is going to be the average days on market. How long is it taking market wide for homes to go under contract in your area? The other question is, can we break this down also into the cities alone that you service the most? If you're working in 3 or 4 cities for the majority of your leads and your showings, it's going to be even more important to break those numbers down and all of these numbers down for that very specific city. So days on market, definitely important one. Next one we should know is our average list to sale ratio in our marketplace. Market wide here in West Michigan, we're looking at 102%. Knowing that most homes are selling over full price, is that going to be important information for a buyer to take forward? Absolutely. So knowing what is going to be that list to sale ratio is going to be ultra important for the market as well as city by city, which you're going to find a lot of times are very, very similar. The next one, the average amount of showings before homes go under contract. So a lot of times, if you have access to showing time, this is something that you can easily look up, and it'll just let people know if it's getting a lot of showing activity. If there's other people looking at it and the average is 7, then there's a great chance we're going to face competition on a home like this. The next one is we want to understand how many months worth of inventory are in our marketplace. What does inventory levels look like? And how do we break that down and explain it to a buyer? What does months worth of inventory even mean? Well, the way I like to explain it to buyers is like this. If we ended up selling homes in our marketplace at the same pace, but stopped listing new homes on the market, how long would it take before we sold all the available homes in our marketplace? Here in West Michigan, that number is 0.8. So we have a little over 3/4 of 1 month's worth of inventory here in our marketplace. If we had 3 months worth of inventory, it would mean that at our current rate, it would take us 3 months to sell all of the homes we have on the market right now. Now, remember, this is provided no new homes were to come on the market. How long would it take us to sell them all out? That is months worth of inventory. The next piece that I want to talk about, and as we dive into market knowledge too, is going to be your knowledge of the process locally within your marketplace. What cities might have their own municipal inspections? What requirements might be in each area? Is there one that bans short-term rentals? Is there one that maybe even has limits on what kind of pets or how many you can keep in those areas? These are also important things for us to be able to give value to the buyer. Number 4 on my list as we look at it here is work ethic. The reality is this: not all agents work the same, and the work ethic is something that you absolutely have control over. How disciplined are you with your time? How much time are you putting into your business on a regular basis? Because no doubt this is going to translate to a value for the buyer, as well as give you a gauge of where the business is going. And last on my list is the ability to guide people when we're talking about different types of financing. Does this mean that you have to be an expert on what rates are or closing costs or all those things? No, not necessarily. But do you understand the different types of loan programs out there? Do you know the difference between an FHA, a VA, a rural development, and a conventional loan? These are a few that are a great place to start in expanding your knowledge. Are there adjustable rate mortgages in your area? And is that something the buyer might want to look at? What is a 2-1 buy down? And is that something that might help your buyer depending on their plans? These are all things that you can learn from your local loan reps of what's available in your area, what's common in your area, yet it would be great information to pass on to prospective buyers. So hopefully this helped a little bit with what our value prop can be when we don't have a ton of time and experience. And if you guys watching this come up with any other things to add to it, go ahead and comment or send it in to me, because I would absolutely love to have more stuff to add into this list. All right, I hope you guys are having a great day. If there's any questions, go ahead and shoot me a message or leave a comment on the video.